guys, welcome back to my channel, Share and Read. Today I'll be doing a reading vlog. Before I get started, if you're new to this channel, hi, hello, I'm Stephanie and I do a lot of bookish content. And it is the month of September, which means it's also magical readathon / orilium. So I wanted to do a weekend vlogs for the next couple of weeks, for this month specifically, just to kind of get through my reading because I have been struggling and I really need some motivation to read. So originally I wanted to start this yesterday, Friday, but then things kind of happened. I didn't get home until like 2 or 3 p.m. and by that point I was like, oh, maybe I'll start in the nighttime, and then I just got busy and yeah, didn't happen. And this morning I was like, oh, I'm gonna start in the morning. No, I had to go to my laser hair removal appointments, and then now it's noon. So it's just gonna be a reading vlog over the weekend, guys. Very chill. I'm gonna try to read a lot of books. We'll see how this goes. It's like basically instead of watching my shows, which I normally do, I'll be reading my books instead. So here's a quick little TBR for what I plan to read for the next 2 days, aka like a day and a half really. I'm finishing up Rule. I am about this much of the way through. I'm on page 131. So I've made some progress. It's a pretty short read. It very much reminds me of like earlier 2000s writing style in terms of just like the writing style, the characters, all of that. But this book basically follows 3 characters. Zophie, who is a traveler. Don't necessarily know what that means per se as of yet. It just means that I want to say she's like a nomad. That's kind of like the impression that I get. Then we follow another character. Her name is Ren, who grew up in the capital city and as a court lady. So she's very familiar with the intricacies of the court, how to talk to nobles, etc., because she's worked there her entire life. She's lived there her entire life. Then we follow another character. Her name is Akila. I'm really hoping I pronounce her name. She is considered an Easterner, which again, I don't know necessarily what that means per se. There's no map in this book, by the way. But this is also an arc, so that's probably why there's no map. But one day something happens and the 3 of them are captured, or not really captured, but they're like taken by these Talons to bring to the king. And turns out that they are the illegitimate daughters of the king, and the king has no heir. So now he's brought the 3 of them into court to kind of train them, and whoever becomes like the best one will basically be the next in line for the throne. So he's tried many different ways to get an heir, cannot have an heir for whatever reason. So now these 3 girls are in the city, or in the capital. So far it's interesting. It's very much, the reason why I want to say it's very reminiscent of like early 2000s writing is because I feel like it's such, like the writing style is very like surface level. Like there's nothing that is very like intricate, not very complex. It's very much like, that's why I feel like, yeah, I know like what these these words mean, like Talons and Easterner, but I don't really know. Like to describe it to you guys, I don't actually really know. So basically I just feel like the author just gives you enough information to continue reading, but she doesn't give you enough information to really like imagine the world while you're reading, if that makes any sense. And that's why I feel like the book is going by really fast, because everything's like surface level. Like I feel like these days the writing from like R.F. Kuang is so intricate, it's so complex, like you know everything, you know what I mean? Like that's not the case with this book. So that is that. And then also the characters, I don't particularly love any of them, but all 3 of them hold some sort of secret as well. And it turns out someone, or many someones, I don't know, is aware of their secrets, and apparently they will stop at nothing from them to take the throne. So yeah, I'm this far the way through. The sequel is also on my TBR, so I'm gonna try to finish this and that book today. Like that's the goal. I feel like if I sit down for like an hour or so, I can definitely finish this. Like this is how much reading I've done with like little snippets of like 5-10 minutes here and there the past couple of days. So I think I can get this done. Additionally, this is not part of my orilium TBR, which by the way, if you want to look at that video, I'll link it above and down below. I go into my entire TBR for that. But for the sake of this video, which is a reading vlog, I'm also going to be listening to my audiobook. So I'm listening to Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. This one essentially follows a woman whose sister disappeared like 20-something years ago. And they never really found her body, but they found her blood in a car of the guy that she was supposedly dating. And since then, for the past like 15-20 years, the main character has been just running away, just trying to forget everything that happened. It doesn't even go back home. She hasn't gone home in like 15 years. Just kind of wants to like live her own life and do her own thing, but circumstances now force her back home, and things that she's been trying to bury this entire time is now coming to life. And she's like, you know what, I'm gonna try to find out what really happened. I feel like, you know, I want to dig a little deeper. And so she ends up on this farm to be a seasonal worker, and this house will happen to the same farm that her sister used to work at for a summer. But when she gets there, she realizes that things are a little bit weird with the owner of the farm, his wife, and there's just like stuff that is connecting with multiple cold cases over the past 2 decades, perhaps longer. So now trying to figure out like what exactly is going on, and so far I'm really interested. I am 78% of the way done, so I will definitely finish this book today once I get to listening to it. I tend to play some games on my phone and then listen to it at the same time. So my goal for today essentially is the 2 books, Rule and the sequel Rise, and then this book. Once I finish these 3, I'll be very happy with this weekend. So let's get to reading. Time for an update. I've read just under 2 hours now. It's been a couple of hours since I had started this vlog, but I kind of went down the rabbit hole on TikTok and got distracted. So I managed to finish this book, Rule. So let's talk about this. The ending, huge cliffhanger. Like, I am now excited to pick up the next book. I will say, like, halfway through this book, it got really boring. Like, I got pretty dry. But if it wasn't for the fact that I was like, I can finish this book so quickly, I probably would have DNF'd it. But now the end, I'm very interested to see what happens next. That being said though, there's so much going on in this book. I feel like it's a little confusing because it does follow 3 POVs. The 3 girls, obviously Zophie, Ren, and Akela. And there are so many other characters that are being thrown into here as well, like the king's name, the queen, the sister, the parents, like the love interest, like all of that. There's a lot of different names on there. Not only that, there's also a lot of different types of arts, and I feel like that part has never been fully explained. The only part that's been explained more in depth is the vulgar arts, but other than that, like the other one, I don't really understand it. I also don't really understand why the queen, because she's from a certain nation, she doesn't have the ability to do the arts. I don't know, they didn't really explain it. Now this next part is a little bit of a spoiler, so I'm going to have a little spoiler section here, but there's this one area of this book that I thought was so fucking weird, and that is Akela and her relationship, her love interest with the queen. Like, the queen is literally married to her father, but there's somehow developed this like romantic interest of each other, and I'm just sitting here just like, okay, yeah, I get that the queen is younger than the father, but is she that much younger that she's about the same age as Akela? And not only that, but like, don't you think that's fucking weird, like being romantically interested and involved with your father's wife? I don't know, I think that part is so fucking weird to me. And I also think that's like so out of character, because she, out of the 3, is the most timid, the most shy, the most like not confident. Like, she lacks a lot of confidence. Like, she grew up with an abusive father, all of that, so that makes sense to me. So I would never have expected that. I also am really surprised by the whole like ending too, because I kind of thought it was Yasmin who is the aunt, because everything so far lined up to it. So when they finally pinpointed her, like, oh, it's definitely her, I was like, yes, I think it's her too. Like, I predicted this, and they drew to the same conclusion as well. And then the ending, not so much. But yeah, I'm going to continue on the series for sure, which is right here. I'm assuming it takes place like right after, so we'll see how this one goes. And then in terms of my audiobook, I did actually listen to a bit of audiobook when I was playing my games. I am now 89% of the way through, so I have just over an hour left. Honestly, I'm really enjoying it. Okay, this part is spoilers, so like just another spoiler section here. I knew it was Liam. Like, I suspected it from the very beginning, because as soon as he showed up, I was just like, I don't know, there's something about him that seems a bit off to me. I mean, granted, it's not the end yet, they're just finally revealing everything, but Liam is most definitely involved with the murder to some degree. Like, somehow he's involved. I don't know how exactly he's involved right now, but he is very much involved with his father and the woman that's there, who is not Marsha, apparently it's Lily, which I did not see coming. But Liam, for sure, I was like, something about him seems a little sus. I don't know. I feel like, just from my gut feeling, I was like, I think he has something to do with it. And then when he was the one that, you know, just shows up randomly, puts a gun to her head or her back or whatever, and was just like, yeah, follow me, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. That part, I was not surprised. The other part that did surprise me, though, was Natalie's identity as Liam's sister. I mean, it makes sense in retrospect, but I did not see that coming, to be honest. I also did not expect Liam to be the son. Like, that also was very surprising to me. So this book is very interesting, because there's definitely parts of it that threw me off and caught me by surprise, and there are other parts of it that I was like, yeah, super obvious, I saw it coming from a mile away. So, but overall though, I'm really enjoying it. I'll definitely finish it today, probably like play some more games, listen to it, and then of course continue on with this book as well. Another update. So I'm now about 2.5 hours in of my reading, and I have made quite some progress. I'm on page 123, so I've maybe like a third of the way done. It's good. I think it's actually way more fascinating right now compared to the first book, because the first book I feel like you're just kind of being introduced to like all the characters and kind of the story and all the situation that's going on. Now I feel like there's a lot going on. I feel like that it's much more action-packed and it's a lot more fast. So I'm very curious to see like how this will continue. Right now, my suspicion is Rosalind. I think that now that we know it's not who I thought in the last book, I think it's Rosalind. I just feel like, based on my gut feeling, I don't really know exactly why. I think it's just like the stuff that she said and kind of like her reaction to things. I'm kind of like, So that's my suspect. But the thing is, like, I don't really understand how she's like the true heir. I mean, that's the whole reason why they're being threatened, is because the true heir wants to be the one to take the throne and not these three illegitimate heirs and daughters. So yeah, I'm really curious to see like what happened next. But I'm gonna take a break now because I want to do some prep for and some planning for my Asia trip coming up soon. So I want to like get onto my computer and like do some planning stuff and research. And then I'll get back to more reading later today. This is going to be my final update before I get ready for bed, because it is now kind of late. I ended up going to my sister's place for a last minute game night, so I didn't really read that much, but I've now read a total of about 3.5 hours, and I did manage to finish one book. So let's talk about that. So the book I did manage to finish was actually my audiobook, Forget Me Not, which I ended up giving 4.5 stars. It was actually so good. I was right and wrong in some of my assumptions and theories about the book, but the ending was stellar. There were so many plot twists and I really enjoyed it. I felt like I was along for the ride. I was super invested with the characters, the story. I just felt like there were so many twists and turns, and some of them I could not see coming at all, and some of them I was like, I'm not surprised. And there were just so many facets to it, like so many levels to what was happening, that it was pretty crazy actually. So yeah, definitely enjoyed it. Highly recommend it if you're into like really good twisty type of thrillers. Highly recommend it. My cat wants to make a little appearance as per usual. Look at his face. Okay, then in terms of this book, I am now about halfway through. I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm on page 152, and there is so much more action in this book. I don't know how much I updated you guys last time I read this book. Like, I don't know if I talked much about this book, honestly, but I did read it some more, and all I can say, it's very action-packed. There's so much going on. I'm very curious to find out like what happens next. I'm definitely going to continue reading this tonight after I get ready for bed, like the last bits before I sleep. So I'm hoping to finish a good chunk of it again. I don't think I'll finish it tonight, but I'll definitely finish it tomorrow at some point, and that'll be great because that's basically, I will finish all 3 books that I want to read for my TBR. But since I did manage to finish listening to my audiobook, I did start another one just now. It's called Well Actually. I literally just started, so I'm only 2% of the way through, and this one seems to be about a girl who's trying to be a journalist. And actually the theme is kind of the same, because the other one also was trying to be a journalist too in Forget Me Not, but this one's trying to be a journalist, but her career has not taken off yet and she has a ton of debt. She ends up becoming an interviewer eating hot dogs with these B-list celebrities, and it's meant for like social media, and that's all I've gotten so far. But according to the synopsis, she's supposed to have like some sort of statement against her ex, who happens to be a very popular social media personality, I want to say, and things kind of exploded and her career, or lack thereof, takes a turn. So that's what the book is about. I don't know if it's gonna be like a second chance situation. I don't know if it's gonna be a new romance, but her ex is definitely somehow involved, and it's a romance, so it'll be pretty cute. So we'll see how that goes. But that's gonna be my audiobook while I play some games on my phone tonight, and then of course I'll be finishing up Rise as well. It is now Sunday, so it's time for another update. It's actually a Sunday afternoon, like late afternoon. It's like 3:30 right now. But in my defense, I have been very busy this morning. I did read a little bit last night. I got to a little past 4 hours, and then I went to bed, woke up this morning, woke up a little bit late because I was supposed to wake up early enough to give you guys an update prior to my cleaner coming in, but I woke up late, so that didn't happen. She came in, also she came early, and then right after she finished, my friend came like 10 minutes later, and she's been here since then, and she just left. So I've been quite busy all day. This is the first time I've been able to actually sit down or stand and do a little update for you guys. But I'm happy to say that I'm actually close to 7 hours. I'm technically 6 hours and 50 minutes or so, and I have done a lot of reading. So I did do a lot of reading while the cleaner was here because I was just chilling. So I managed to finish this book over here. I actually enjoy this a lot more than I did the first one. I feel like this one, just because like I finally know what's going on. I feel like I have a better understanding of the world, the characters, the magic system, that this one was a lot more enjoyable for me to read and find out what was going on and determine like who the culprit was. I also feel like this book for some reason felt more like a mystery than the first one, even though like it was still the same thing, like you still find the same culprit. It just felt different in this one, and the ending was definitely something that I did not see coming. Like, okay, I'll be honest, I did kind of think it was this person, but I also wasn't sure how that was going to be the case. And once that how came to be, I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. Like, that took me off, like that definitely caught me by surprise. So yeah, really enjoyed this book. For the spoiler section, I will say I knew it was odd. Okay, so like I thought Rosalind for a while, not gonna lie. Mainly because there's so many things that she said in the beginning that I was kind of like, I don't know, it seems a little bit sus that you're saying that, and it's a little like too convenient, especially once we find out that she's pregnant. And I guess when you're pregnant, you have like the blood of the person as like the child as well, and so you can do some magic. I did not know that part, but once I found that out, I was like, oh my god, it makes sense for her to be the culprit. And then when everyone else started to deduce that it was her, I was like, no, this is like too easy, it has to be someone else. And then at one point I was thinking, like, how crazy would it be if it was Odd that was behind everything, because she kept saying like, oh, we're no longer of the same status and things like that. That I was like, I don't know, it seems like more than just jealousy. But I also was just like, I don't know. And then when I found out that and I was like, okay, fine, let's say she is, you know, another illegitimate daughter of the king, who's the mom? Dude, the mom turned out to be his sister. She was a child born of incest. I was literally just like gagged when I heard that, because I was not expecting that part at all. And I think that's kind of crazy. Like, yeah, I know they were desperate for, you know, certain things that's happening, not for each other, but they wanted to know like what was going on with the war fronts, and there are a lot of things going on at the time, so they had done it out of like desperation to get knowledge and stuff. But at the same time, I'm just like, that, I don't know, that was absurd. That threw me off. That was a curveball for sure. So yeah, was not expecting that. I also really love the relationship between the three characters, the three sisters. I loved how even from the beginning, like the first they're a little wary of each other, but then we're able to really trust each other pretty quickly, because they were like, you know what, we're on the same page here, we just want to know what's best. And none of them were just like, I want the throne and that's that, you know, like none of them were very like power hungry, and I feel like that also helped too with their relationship. And Akela, who ends up becoming the queen, that made sense too. Like, I honestly thought it was gonna be Ren for some time, because I feel like she was the most like level-headed one and one that knows the court best and like the politics and all of that. But I think that would have been more of an easy solution because of her background. So Akela being like a very timid girl and coming to herself and being able to speak up and, you know, having that character development, I think that was a good transition for her. So yeah, overall, enjoy this book, 4 stars for sure. I also started my audiobook like I mentioned last night, and I am now 31% of the way through. I'm enjoying it. It's definitely much more enjoyable than I expected. It is the love interest. It's a second chance redemption, and essentially follows a girl who is doing a bunch of hot dog related interviews with B-list celebrities and other type of celebrities, and she ends up on drunken night rants about her ex. And it's not even really her ex, they went on like 4 or 5 dates and they were never like together officially, but apparently he treated her really badly and just ghosted her. And it was just very weird. I feel there's a lot more to the story, because from what I understand so far, he was very nice to her, such a gentleman, and then at some point after they got to know each other like as friends and she started to fall for him, he started to distance himself for whatever reason. Like, I don't really understand why that happened. And then then she was like, wait, no, I actually do like this guy. I want to date this guy. So she's like, okay, I agree to go on some dates with you, because I think he had asked her out from the beginning, and she was like, no, like, let's just be friends or something. And then fast forward a couple dates, and every time like they're dating or they go on these dates, he's like half not paying attention. So I feel like there's something going on with him, like in the background, like his personal life, that she doesn't know about, and that's why he treated her like more distantly, even though in the beginning he was such a good friend and was always there and like really helpful and all that, and very sweet. So I'm kind of curious to understand like what transpired and what led to that transition later on. And so now on their segment, because her boss was like, no, this is great exposure, we're finally getting some recognition for your hot dog interviews, so we want to continue with this, you know, momentum. So they were like, you need to have another interview with this guy. So they end up having this interview, and on the interview he's like, I want to make up for it, so let's go on a couple of dates, 6 dates. And then after a lot of reluctance and also some push from her boss, she was like, okay, fine. So now they're all going on these dates for him to like have a chance to redeem himself and basically show that he's not that much of an asshole. So they just went there on the first date, and it was ups and downs for sure, like all over the place, but it was very fun. I'm definitely curious to see how this will continue the story. And then the next book that I'll be picking up is Seafire. Now that I finished Rise, this is the other book I want to read for Orilium, and I literally have not started. So I just put my bookmark in and called it a day. All I know is something to do with pirates. It's something to do with mermaids. I think it's just pirates. It says after her family is killed by a corrupt warlord, Eric and his bloodthirsty army of bullets, Caldonia is left to chart her own course on the dangerous and deadly seas. She captains her ship with a crew of girls and women just like her. The crew has one mission: stay alive and take down Eric's armed and armored fleets. Then her best friend and second in command barely survives an attack, and she finds herself questioning whether to let him join their crew. Very curious. But yeah, I also thought this was a duology because I have the second book, and that was what I'm trying to read for the Orilium technically. I just need to read this one first. So now that it's not, I'm going to have to pick up the third book at some point, depending if I like this book. Like, who knows? Like, there's a good chance that, you know, I always DNF. Like, that's always a possibility. So we'll see how this one goes, but this is my next book. At this point though, because I did technically finish the 3 books I really want to read for this weekend, I would be happy if I just get to a couple chapters of this one, or like another hour or 2 of reading, to be honest, because I'm not like, I need to finish this, because I already finished 3 books this weekend, so I'm very happy about that. Final update for the night: I'm going to end the vlog tomorrow just because I want to get some reading done tonight and hopefully do a little bit of my physical reading, because I read 0 of that. So no progress made on Seafire at all. However, I'm now on 9 hours, a little over 9 hours of reading. I've been mostly listening to my audiobook over here, and now I am 67% of the way through. So I have made quite a lot of progress. There's just under 4 hours left. I'm not going to finish it tonight. I can't imagine it. But I think I'll definitely finish a little bit more of that, as well as Seafire. I'm hoping to get at least like a couple chapters in, to be honest, but I'm fine if I don't even pick it up, to be honest, because I already got to the goal that I really wanted to do, which is the 3 books that I want to finish. So I'm already pleased with myself on that progress. So anything now is just extra for me. But yeah, I definitely still want to take a stab at reading tonight, but I do want to go to bed early because I am starting my new job tomorrow morning, and my IT orientation is at 9 a.m. or sorry, it's at 8 a.m. So it's very early. I need to be up earlier than that to get ready, and then it is a fully remote job, which I'm very excited for, and hopefully everything goes smoothly tomorrow. But yeah, I do want to get an early night rest and be all rested tomorrow for my first day of work. It's time to end this vlog. So it is now Monday, like 4 p.m. and I just finished up my work because I am so fucking tired. The first day is always so brutal with like orientation and HR stuff and security training and introduction training and I don't know, just a lot of things going on. I just sat through an hour of like sexual harassment training and my head hurts. Like, even though everything is like so obvious, just like watching all the clips and reading and doing the questionnaires and it's so long. Anyways, let's get to what I have ended up doing last night. So I did end up getting to 10 hours last night, or like just in general over the weekend, which honestly is really fucking good for me. And I did read only 1 chapter of this book, but now I did read a little bit more this morning and I'm on chapter 5. So obviously not a ton of progress. I will say though, I'm not really loving this book. It's okay. It's definitely like it needs some time to marinate for me normally, but essentially it follows a woman. Her name is Calcedonia, where her and her family have been pirates, I want to say. I'm not sure if they're pirates honestly, but they're like they live on a boat, a huge ship, and they're just like crossing the fearless seas and all of that. And then one day her and her best friend go on land to forage for some food or get some supplies, and the rest of her family and the rest of the crew stayed on board, and they end up getting attacked by Eric Athair, who is a corrupt warlord. And since then they're now rebuild their crew, and their goal is to take them down, or take him down. So I'm very curious to see how this will continue. Right now I just got to the part where Pisces, that's her best friend, they had launched an attack, and Pisces end up getting wounded and getting taken by the pirates or Eric's crew, but then somehow she ends up escaping with the help of a bullet, and that is what they call the crew members from Eric's crew. So now she's like, oh, can I trust this guy? I don't know what's going on. And that's where I'm at right now. It just started. I feel like it's very fast moving, because I feel like the entire synopsis already happened in the first like 4 chapters. So that's pretty quick. I'm really curious to see like how this will continue with their mission, and if this bullet is actually there to eventually betray them, or if he's actually going to be their reason to succeed in their attempt to take down this guy. So I'm just definitely curious about this book overall. In terms of my audiobook, I did listen to a lot this morning before work, and I'm now 79% of the way through. I still have 2.5 hours. I could probably finish this tonight depending on how much audiobook I get to or how much games I'm playing. But I'm enjoying it. It's actually really interesting. I'm really enjoying the banter between the 2 characters and how things are progressing between the 2 of them, romantically as well as professionally. So definitely enjoying that book. Check it out if you're interested in like a second chance romance. I was correct in the sense that there was something more to his story back when they were in college, because I was like, he's just too nice. I feel like there has to be something going on with him personally for him to suddenly treat her like that. And yes, not all guys are like that. I feel like there's exceptions, but I don't know, I just get the sense that he's like a very genuinely nice guy. And then now that he explained to her like what happened to him and like what was going on, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see why. So yeah, so that concludes this readathon. I don't know how many pages I read, but I did manage to finish 2 of my books, these 2 books, which is 2 of my prompts for the magical readathon. I also managed to finish my audiobook, which is Forget Me Not, and I am almost done with a second audiobook. In addition, I also finished 4 chapters of this one, so not a ton of progress. I'm on page 50, by the way, so like as you can tell, there is still a lot left to go. But overall, not bad of a job, if I do say so myself. Let me know down below if you have read any of these books before, what you guys think about them. I know most of the books that I'm reading, besides my audiobooks, are backlisted books. They've been out since like 2017, 2018 or so. So let me know if you have read these before and if you had enjoyed them or not. For Seafire, let me know if it's worth continuing to the end of the series. I do have the first 2 books, so I might at least read those 2, but we'll see how I feel about this one. But that's it for this video. As always, if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. It really helps on my channel. And if you like to see more content of me, please don't hesitate to subscribe below, as well as hit the notification bell. And as always, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!